going to be talking about the reality of working other part-time jobs while growing your business, what that looks like, and if it's even possible. Hey, my name is Simpson, and I am here to help you maximize your time and talents as a small business owner. I do new videos every week, so make sure to subscribe for more content. I've been building my business since 2010 and been full-time since 2016, and I'm here to talk to you about 3 different ways that you could work part-time jobs while you grow your business. The first is going to be talking about a regular part-time job where you have to commute somewhere, work for a certain amount of hours, and then clock out. The second type is going to be a work-from-home position where you can stay at home, there's no commute, you have certain hours to work, but maybe you can have a little more flexibility. And the third type is going to be as an independent contractor for apps such as DoorDash and Instacart. So the first area of experience that I have working a part-time job while growing my business is working a more traditional part-time job. What that essentially means is that I was commuting to a place of work, working for a certain amount of hours, and then clocking out, and I made a certain amount per hour. I did this in a multitude of ways. I've had a bunch of different part-time jobs since I was 16 because saving money was always very important to me, and making my dreams happen was important, and I knew that you needed money to do so. I've worked as a receptionist at a salon. I've worked as a packer at a warehouse, packing up items to ship out. I've worked as a nanny, a babysitter, and a preschool teacher. I tried a couple MLMs. Wasn't for me. I was a server at a banquet hall or a wedding reception venue, but you basically get the gist. Some of these jobs I even did while I was going to college full-time, working part-time, and hustling to make my business grow. But if you want to hear my experience on going to college and if it's actually necessary for growing your business, check out the video in the cards or in the description box below. So hustling to make your business goals a reality while you are working a regular part-time job where you have to go somewhere, clock in, clock out, it can get pretty tricky. Let's just say you have to be creative with how you are using your time. I am going to preface this by saying all of these jobs and all of this work I did was before children. So I do not have experience as far as having to juggle children on top of all this. Let me tell you though, you parents who do all of this plus parenting, especially if you're a single parent, hats off to you. I honestly don't know how you do it. Use your break times wisely. Break times were hustle times for me. I usually got a half hour to an hour for lunch depending on what job it was. Yes, I would eat my lunch because I still have to be able to function for the second half of my workday. But this is the time I spent reading self-help or development business books to grow my mind and my motivation. This is the time that I spent scheduling my social media posts. This is the time that I got back to emails as much as I could because phones are amazing. I also returned phone calls of voicemails that I received while I was working. Basically anything that I could do on the phone, which let's be real is a lot these days, that's what I was doing during my break times to get the most out of that free time in the middle of the day, the middle of the workday when most people are trying to contact you. I also did stuff like this during nap time. So when I was a nanny and a babysitter, you know, if there was nap time for like 1 to 2 hours and I was just kind of sitting there like idly waiting because maybe I finished cleaning or whatever other duties that I was doing, I would be on my phone trying to contact people, things like that. Another way you can hustle to grow outside of this is once you're done being clocked in, so say that you work 7 to 3, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. All right, so start hustling like 3:30 to 7:30 p.m. or something like that. Now, I also had homework to juggle, so I did have to make time for that as well as physically going to college classes for a good 4 years. So let's say, for example, I worked 7 to 3. I worked on my business 3:30 to 7:30. In there, I probably had like a half hour for dinner. And then I spent a couple hours on homework after that, and it was time to go to bed and try and get a good night's sleep to repeat it all again. You're going to have to get creative and you're going to have to really buckle down and sacrifice with this method because unfortunately you are going to have to say no to things like social gatherings and events and friend things and just kind of fun things, as terrible as that sounds. It's very much having to sacrifice in the short term so that you can gain freedom, whether that's time freedom, money freedom, or both in the long term. That's really what the goal of building the business is. Another thing you can do is say you go to college full time and you work 20 to 30 hours during the week, and it's all Monday through Friday, and you're kind of compacting all of that schoolwork and work into the weekdays. You can take Saturday and Sunday to then hustle on your business. For me, my business was very weekend heavy anyway, because we work a lot on weddings and special events, which take place on weekends. So we kind of were working in the business with clients anyway, but I also would take weekends to work on the business. Which, if you want to hear more about working in your business versus working on your business, leave a comment down below. I'd love to expand more on that. Still to this day, my husband will be like, "It's a Sunday, why are you working?" And I'm like, because there are no formal hours, and this is when I have to get back to somebody. I don't know what to tell you. That's business. So the second part-time job option that I have some experience in, and that is becoming wildly more popular now after the pandemic started, is a work-from-home option. Work from home can be really great because it can give you a little bit more flexibility in your day, because maybe you can multitask a little bit, especially in some slower times from the job that you are working from home for. It also takes that commute time out. So say before you were commuting a half hour to and from work, that's an entire hour you were spending in the car just going to and from. And even though, hey, we can multitask there, we can listen to podcasts, we can certainly be on calls with clients or colleagues from time to time, it's definitely still just kind of wasted time. I loved this option, and I did it for a couple years. So basically, I was working for an app that had some up-and-coming technology that we were almost like the guinea pigs for, of making sure it was working properly, but also servicing some customers in real time. So we would get FaceTime calls, and we would have to be on a FaceTime call talking to somebody. And so you did have to get ready for work and be presentable enough. But at the same time, we did have a lot of times that there were gaps in between calls. What would happen, for example, if there were 10 advisors that were on the shift, we would all get the call to our phone, and whoever picked up first was the one who serviced that customer. Sometimes we would have back-to-back calls, and a lot of people calling in at once, so we were pretty busy. But there were times that it would be dry for even an hour or two, or there would be just a couple calls coming through, and that person happened to grab it first. What this meant was, mentally, it was a little overstimulating, because I was trying to focus on writing a blog post or getting back to emails or scheduling social media, or again, all of that kind of admin computer work that I could be doing along with waiting for the calls to come in. But it was that mental gymnastics, because I still had to be mentally on and prepared to talk to these customers that were calling in. So I will say that that was the trickiest part, and it did get overwhelming from time to time, but I did really like that job because, again, it just felt a little more flexible being work from home, and it also gave me that ability to multitask when there were slow times. The third and final option I want to talk about today is as an independent contractor for apps like DoorDash, Instacart, Shipt, etc. I've had experience in DoorDash, Instacart, and Grubhub personally. Shipt I tried to get on, but they had a wait list, so I didn't really have the opportunity to work for them. This is going to be your most flexible option in the sense that you do not have a schedule. Because you're an independent contractor, you get to choose when you do and don't work. Of course, you have to be smart with it. So the thing is that even though you can choose when you work, it doesn't really make sense in a suburban area to work at midnight when nobody's ordering and nobody's open. So to get the most bang for your buck, you want to make sure you're working in that lunch peak time and that dinner peak time if you're doing food delivery services. And generally speaking, weekends are a bit more popular as well for both the food delivery and the grocery delivery. So although it is your most flexible option because you get to choose when you do and don't work and nobody is overseeing you like a boss, you do just have to play it smart and schedule some time in your day to work these jobs when it makes the most sense and you will make the most money in the least amount of time. So I actually went on DoorDash after a few years of not doing any jobs, being completely inactive, and my account was still there, which I was really surprised to see. So if you guys want to see me do some DoorDash and show you what it is like in real time and how that works, let me know in the comments and I'd be happy to do that video for you. I did do a couple of DoorDash shifts recently, and all I have to say is it has actually gotten better through the years. I think largely the pandemic did affect this, but basically there are more door drop-offs versus having to ring the doorbell and talk to a customer. There are a lot more of the bags just being sealed by the restaurant. So now if something is wrong, that's more on the restaurant rather than the DoorDash driver. And so it's just a little less pressure on you. There's also less ordering in the stores with the red card, which is a debit card that you use. And this was especially more popular with smaller diner kind of settings. But now, I mean, everything is like super streamlined. And so it actually is pretty simple to do. If you're interested in signing up for Instacart or DoorDash, check out the links down below. I got a little perk for you. So those are my personal experiences working miscellaneous part-time jobs while I was making my business a full-time reality. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them in the comments down below. But for now, let's talk about my first credit card dispute as a small business owner and how I handled that.